to Well Rounded Momma's YouTube channel. Thanks for joining us. My name is Sherry.
I'm Emily.
Sarah.
And we are all home birth midwives located in the Las Vegas, Nevada area. If this is the first time you're tuning in, hit the subscribe button, like, subscribe, and ring the bell, and you'll get a little notification on your phone that, hey, we uploaded a new video. We upload videos every Tuesday. Sometimes if we're a Bruce, it might be Wednesday. We're super sorry about that. But every week we've consistently been releasing videos, and so we now are getting some feedback about topics, and this topic was how to interview a care provider specifically. Sarah took lots of notes, and so Emily and I are just gonna like input occasionally while Sarah kind of runs the show.
And I am going to put a link underneath the video that is going to go to the Well Rounded Momma blog that will actually have all of these interview questions written down, so you can print them and take them with you if that helps you with your interview. I think probably the first thing before you start interviewing care providers, or really even if you already have a care provider that you've been seeing for a while, the later into pregnancy you get, you start to get new preferences. Maybe you learned something in your childbirth class, maybe you read something in a book, like you start to set some goals or some preferences for yourself at a certain point during your pregnancy. I think starting to get super clear on what those priorities are, like, do you want a natural birth? Is skin to skin really important to you? Having your baby on your chest? Is breastfeeding really important to you? Starting out by writing down some of those goals. Then after you interview your care provider or start asking the right questions, then you get a feel for whether or not they are really going to help support you in those goals and in those preferences. So really thinking about like what kind of experience you want. As far as natural birth, for instance, what do you think are some good things to ask a care provider if you have a client that is wanting a natural birth?
I think the biggest one would probably come to an induction. What point would they want to schedule an induction? What are their post-date management like? For me as a doula, that's the most time where I see the natural goals change, which is okay. Staying flexible is okay, but knowing what that looks like and how to plan for it is important. And if you don't want an induction, you shouldn't be with a care provider who's quick to induce.
Right. And I like that because I think that's why our cesarean rate is so high.
Yeah.
For me, my question would be, what is their philosophy about birth? Because if they don't trust birth, how are they possibly going to give that? Or how many natural childbirths do they do? How many have they seen? Meaning somebody who was unmedicated and had their baby from start to finish. Because if they haven't seen it, they sure as hell don't know how to do it.
It's true. And I think that's probably my favorite question as well, is just how often do you see this? And that can be for whatever goal you have.
VBAC.
Like if you're a VBAC, if you've had a cesarean before and you want to try for a vaginal birth, like ask your care provider, how often have you seen a successful VBAC? That will totally give you at least an idea of your care provider's attitude surrounding these things. And when it comes to midwives, specifically like home birth midwives, so I think probably nurse midwives have very similar interview questions to a physician, unless they have a home birth practice, in which case you can use any of these questions for those. But finding out what the home birth midwife's philosophy is as well. What does she think about just birth in general? How often does she recommend interventions? Does she carry emergency medications or herbs? Kind of what is her philosophy surrounding those things too? What would be some of your guys' favorite interview questions for midwives?
I mean, it's a good juggle, right? It's a good balance between, like, here in the state of Nevada, there's no licensure, so anyone can be a midwife. So how do you ask questions in a way that you get solid information and can read through the truth, right? Because informed consent is whatever the midwife tells you, because it's not like somebody's keeping record of what we're doing here. And so how do you get those numbers that solidify a good experience? I know we don't like using this term safe when it comes to home birth. That freaks everybody out. However, what kind of things are they seeing in the office? But I think more importantly, it's about, not more importantly, that's wrong. It's a balance. It's connection. It's connection to somebody that you feel safe with, you feel confident with, that you can ask questions with. Because I think my goal as a midwife is to create a safe space to have hard conversations and have hard experiences with. If you don't develop a relationship with another care provider where you can have that hard, difficult conversation with somebody and it be in a healthy exchange, then it's not going to work. So I would say, don't be afraid to push somebody in an interview, because anybody who gets kind of flustered or frustrated in an interview, they are not going to be good for you when things come up. Because, I mean, we all hope nothing goes wrong. Pregnancy, prenatal care, all the way through to the end. But if your midwife can't handle tough interview questions, so I say have the hard questions. And you may not learn everything you want to know about that human being. You might be catching on her A game or her B game or her C game that day. You don't know, like, she's a human being. With physicians, when you meet with them, it's not a consultation, it's your first prenatal visit. So it's not like you can schedule a consultation with a physician, so they're like there to like sell you on their services. They don't give a shit.
Absolutely.
Sorry, there's my answer.
No,
I love it.
I'm already apologizing.
Well, you always said in like our visits with our clients, trust is so important. And how else are you going to trust someone if they're not being authentic and transparent with you? So asking the hard questions, scheduling a consultation with them, you know, having uncomfortable conversations allow you to create that safe space, and also where you can build that trust, but be transparent and know that this person is not just blowing smoke up your butt.
Although Sarah's got this amazing list of questions, sometimes you might have no idea what you want.
For sure.
You just maybe have an idea that you had a friend who used a midwife and she had a great experience, or you are more holistic minded, but you don't really know that much about birth. Like, you're going into a relationship where you're going to kind of unpeel like an onion these layers that come with birth, which is, oh, I have to make a decision about that, or I can think about that. That's an option. That's going to happen regularly throughout your prenatal care. Unless you've had a baby before and had a home birth before, you're probably not going to know how you feel about certain things. So you've got to think in your brain, okay, I'm sharing this very personal relationship.
Asking them like if they have any requirements of you.
Yeah,
Like,
that's a really good
do
one.
you require certain testing? Do you require an ultrasound? Do you require me to take childbirth classes or hire a doula if this is my first baby? That will also give you a good feel of the kind of practice that it is and whether or not that meshes with you.
Yeah.
Truly, there's no wrong answer. I really don't think that there is. There's just the wrong provider for you. Asking these questions and then just give yourself a gut check on how you liked that answer and how that fits your own philosophy and your own preferences. And the last thing is to just remember that your care provider isn't the end-all be-all. Just to know that there's also the rest of your birth team. When I was a doula for a decade or so, I used to tell my clients, like, even though you want to try to find the best care provider possible, right? You want someone that's going to honor your birth preferences. Even then, I think you could have the worst care provider at the worst hospital or whatever and still have a pretty decent birth experience. As long as you kind of know what those preferences are, you feel conviction about those preferences, and you're not solely depending on your care provider either. Making sure that you have a tribe around you of information, like a childbirth class, like a labor doula. If you like holistic care, maybe involving a chiropractor or an herbalist, don't be afraid to also add in other individuals that can kind of help fill in those gaps as well.
Because I've had that where some clients have decided late on where they've wanted to maybe change, but they couldn't because it's been like their 36 weeks. And I just usually say, okay, well, that just lets us know how we have to better advocate for you. Just lets us know how we have to advocate.
So that gives you a really good idea. And check out the list that Sarah made, because even if you don't ask those questions in an interview, they might be really good questions for you and your partner to start kind of as you travel down, because I doubt your physician is going to ask you if you would like to do delayed cord clapping. So asking yourself questions and seeing where you stand with things to begin with, and maybe you don't know, and that's okay. Finding someone to meet you where you're at is the most important thing when it comes to finding somebody to support you in your pregnancy. These are 3 individuals here who support individuals the best way we know how, but we're all very unique and different in our own ways. It means that we get different clients and different clientele.
It's true.
And so we love that. We appreciate that down here. It's why we have as many care providers as we do, because we feel like somebody down here will be a good fit for you. Although most of us are like-minded, because that's how that works when we back for one another. We are all unique, and we have strengths and weaknesses, and we all lean on each other for that. And so we really enjoy that. We enjoy the team effort that we get here at Well Rounded Momma. And so if you are interested in signing up for a free consultation with one of our Well Rounded Momma care providers, whether that be a doula or a midwife, we'll link our phone number right down below, and you are welcome to call. All consultations here are free. We also offer open houses the last Friday of every month from 6:30 to 8:30 or 8. 8. Don't make them stay too late. You see these ladies? They were like 8 o'clock. Sister. 8 o'clock.
Pumpkins. We have to go home and get ready for bed before we have to get called to a birth.
So join us at an open house or call for a free consultation. We would love to answer your questions, make them as difficult as you want. So
put us in the
look
hot
forward to
seat.
seeing you. Have a wonderful, and we will see you next week.
Bye. That's a good one.
I like that. Go check.
That's all.
We're witches because we're midwives.
Yes. We work
I
in the
just saw
shack.
the best meme that said, why are we more afraid of witches than we would be of the people who burned them alive?